some parts of the street there was water over my knees. Seeing the damage, seeing walls removed, houses stripped absolutely, totally bare. As you'd expect, they were pretty upset, and there was a lot of frustration exercised by the community. There was a lot of people just wanting to know why this has happened.
It was sort of for us really a reality check. We hadn't really had that idea of what an event like that would be like and what we would need to have in place, and I think 2015 has given us a real push to get more prepared for those events, because we do expect them to happen more often.
The research is looking at three things. It's looking at how councils and other key organisations are responding in themselves. It's looking at how communities are responding, and it's looking at how iwi are responding. What we're realising is that councils are really just only starting to get to grips with this as a challenge. There's been a sea change in the last 2 years. Suddenly climate change and its impacts have gone from being an abstract idea to something that's actually on our doorsteps. And certainly in a place like Dunedin, where they've had 3 quite significant flood events, for example in South Dunedin, and a big one on the Taieri in the last couple of years, there is very much a sense from other councils about how's Dunedin dealing with this. We think they're doing things quite well.
I think one of the biggest praises that we get now from emergency events is our communications going out from here.
Really pushing to ensure our comms is very up to date, like not having any delays when we know that something's happening, and throughout the recovery process just keeping communicating with the community and hearing back from them, that two-way street. One
of the things which we're actively working with is around developing community response groups and making sure that the communities have got some form of infrastructure within themselves when it comes to events.
The notion that the place that you care for, the place that you live in, the place that your children go to school, the place that you work in might be different in 50 years' time is really hard to grasp.
What might our communities look like? We're looking at the moment at things like blue-green infrastructure, so actually changing the fabric of your urban environment to respond to the fact you might have more water in it much more regularly. Like roads, we have rules in New Zealand where you have to have the crown of the road is the highest point. And so your drainage is going out. Now we're looking at, because of places like Copenhagen, we're thinking maybe you actually design the roads in the opposite way, and the drainage starts to happen in the middle of the road, so that you don't give that flooding to the residences or to the commercial properties that are on the edges. It's definitely not a question of telling the community what's happening. Like, I've been very honest, and I think most of my colleagues are very honest, that we don't have brilliant answers on the climate change front. Like, we don't know what we're going to do yet that's going to help us. And I think it has taken quite a long time for us to be at the point where we're really comfortable just saying that.
What we've discovered is that councils are at various stages of engagements. There are just a handful around New Zealand so far that are really seriously engaging on climate change, and particularly around areas that are under threat from sea level rise and increased flooding. All of us have got very, very busy day-to-day lives. We're all making a living, we've got families to look after, and yet here's a much bigger, longer term threat that we've also got to think about that might not affect us today, but they may well affect our children.